Okay. Well, we have the DG with us. He's joining us from Abuja studio, Mr. Aliyu Aziz. Good morning, Mr. Aziz.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Yes, we're already asking ourselves questions here, but actually we should be asking you the questions. First of all, why does one need to renew a national identity card?
Well, I think the most important thing is the national identity number. And that is what we've been preaching for the past 4 years, that let us focus on the national identification number. Because even the most developed nations like the United States of America focuses on their own social security number. In UK too, and also in India, they enroll more than 1 billion people, and they issued only number. And in Nigeria too, we had BVN. It's number, not really card. So the most important output of NIMS is the national identification number. And that number is unique for every individual, and it does not expire. It's rested only when one passes away. So if you talk about card, then card is a token. Every token that does not have an expiry date is not a legal document. Any legal document, a secure legal document, must have an expiry date. And that expiry date is determined from many factors. That is the material that makes up the card, and then the electronics that makes up the internal workings of the card. So therefore, for the NIMS card, the material can last up to 10 years, but the electronics that is in there for the cryptography can only take you up to 4 to 5 years, and it needs to be renewed. In that case, the card will expire, and it needs to be replaced. And when the approval was given to us to print a sample of this card, it was meant that only the first issuance of the card is going to be free, and any subsequent issuance of card will have to be paid for. And there are many countries whereby you pay for this card. But in Nigeria, we have been oil rich, and we wanted everything to be free, and we are not used to paying for card. So we thought it's a right to own a card, but the right is on the national identification number.
Therefore, is that every 4 to 5 years, one has to renew one's card, and one has to pay the sum of 5,000 naira. Is that correct?
Every 4 to 5 years, or depending on the status of the technology, that you have to pay a sum. Presently, the sum is 5,000, okay. But every year it will be reviewed, and okay. There will be a sum that you need to pay.
When you say it will be reviewed, would the review be upwards or downwards?
Depending, if the technology improves, then it can be reduced downwards as well. Remember when you paid for your SIM card at the beginning, it was very huge sum. Later on, the SIM card is being issued free of charge, and depending on your own usage.
Okay. Mr. Aziz, some people have applied for their ID cards. They've had their biometrics taken for years. Myself, I'm an example. I did all that in 2014, and I still have not received my card. What is the reason for this long delay? It's 5 years now.
Yeah, again, as I said that earlier on, that the focus in this 21st century is digital. And therefore, it is the number that is given to you that you need to use digitally. And therefore, our focus has been on this number, and therefore, we have achieved a lot of successes in issuing the number. But when it comes to the card, again, the card that you see, I in fact have my own card here to hold. So this card is a polycarbonate card. It's designed to last, as I said, for 10 years. But the electronics in the chip, and this chip is 80 kilobytes. Your ordinary ATM card is only 4 kilobytes. So this is 20 times bigger than your ATM card that you buy for 1,000 naira. So if this is 20 times larger in terms of memory, because we are asked to do a general multipurpose card, then you will agree with me that it is expensive. And you knew very well that we have gone through recession. And therefore, we strategize that we will be issuing more of the numbers than the card until when the economy improves.
Okay, so you're saying that if I go into a place now and they ask me for my national ID card, all I need to do is to give them the number. Will that suffice?
Exactly. So this slip that you have been given with the NIN that is placed here, so all you need to do is an 11-digit number. All you need to do is to memorize your number. Just the way you issue your telephone number to someone else without showing him the original slip. That is the way that this number will be used in the 21st century. And the onus is on the organization to then authenticate or verify this number to be sure that you are who you said you are.
Okay, Mr. Liu, the question then will be, if the number is the most important thing, why is it then so difficult for people to register?
Well, I think access to centers and also issuing the number is not really difficult the way you want to make it. Like for our nation, we have about 1,000 centers, and it is not enough for the population. So we need at least 4,000 centers for minimum for a nation of the size of Nigeria. But the issue has been that we always wait until the last days to come and do something. Meanwhile, these centers are open, just the way we open offices. And the strategy has been that we will not be doing a big bank like come within 3 weeks, we are going to enroll everybody and spend a lot of money. No, because at any time, somebody is being born, somebody is turning 16, somebody wants to go to school. Therefore, it is a continuous process. And what we are planning now is to work with all the other government agencies. It's not that we don't even have those centers. We have other agencies like INEC has a lot, more than 10,000 equipment. NPOPC has more than 4,000 offices. Immigration has offices, road safety has offices, PENCOM has, so, and then we have the banks. So we have many government agencies, but the problem is that we have been working in silos. So for the past 4 years, what we've been trying to do is that let us all work together, and then we will be able to provide service for the teeming citizens in this country. So the blame should not be NIMS, the blame should be Nigeria, because all over the world, every nation has a database of its citizens. It's only in Nigeria, so it's a serious matter. And for the past 59 years, we have not done it. Therefore, we have to do it. And the strategy is to work together.
When you say work together, Mr. Liu, how do you mean? If we're talking about other nations have database of their citizens, I asked a question about the ability of Nigerians to register. For instance, in Lagos, there's only one center on the mainland. You've talked about the fact that the centers are not even enough. What can be done? Because anytime you go to that Lagos center, the crowd there, and then people get there week upon week, day in, day out, and they leave without registering. So how do you expect people to continue to going there and end up not registering? What do you do to ease the pressure on the people?
Yeah, that is what I said, is that the plan is to work with all the other government agencies. We have a new method of doing that we call an ecosystem. An ecosystem, by its name, is that it is a sustainable system. We, on our own part, NIMS, we operate these centers. Like, we ask our staff to come out even weekends to register people, because we know that the centers are not enough. But I'm trying to say that we should look at it from the perspective of government agencies working together. So the plan in the ecosystem is that the other government agencies should capture the data based on the standards of NIMS and send this data to the back end of NIMS, and they can even be paid for the service that they will render. That is the plan to relieve the crowds that you talked about, especially in Lagos, Kano, Kaduna, and Abuja.
Okay, you know that some of these government agencies might not have the equipment to do data capture. Are you thinking of the banks as well?
Yes, I mentioned the banks, I mentioned the telcos. So it is anywhere that there is an equipment that will be able to capture this data. We want to harness all those equipment to capture the data, and they will be paid per successful enrollment. Again, because we have gone through turnkey, we've gone through PPP contracts that did not work. The plan now is based on performance. Come in, and we have advertised and have gotten some companies into that we are onboarding right now. We have re-advertised again because we made a mistake of not explaining the program, and also telling them that whatever that is asked is statutory, so they have to submit all this so that they can be licensed. So we will license both private sector, government organizations, and also private sector to come in and then capture this data. And it's going to be a continuous thing. Mind you, every year we born about 7 million children, and they grow every year. So everybody requires some form of identity from birth.
What about the issue of compromise of this data? What's the guarantee that the data will not be compromised?
Well, that is exactly what we've been doing from ab initio. From 2013. We have gone out of our way to get an ISO certification for the information security, because we know that we will be asked this question, and we will show you the certificate that International Standard Organization says that what we are doing is good. But we also require a law, that a data protection law, and that is also in progress. And we believe that this National Assembly will pass the law, and it will be signed into law to make sure that it is perfected.
Mr. Aziz, I am sure that in working on these ideas, you also took on board the not so literate and the illiterates in the society, because you said that all we needed was to have our NIN and to quote our NIN. We didn't have to have the physical card. So how do you expect it to work out with our largely illiterate population?
Yeah, just the same way that when GSM phone came, and the question that people used to ask is that how will my grandmother in the village will use that? Then we found out that the same people were buying those handsets and taking it to the grandmother and showing them, when you want to call Bio Aziz, this is the way to use that number. So we have high literacy in this country. We have almost every family has someone that is literate. Therefore, it is very easy to use the number just the way that we have used the GSM number, and this is 21st century. And with the help of the media like you, then we'll make sure that it will reach every corner of Nigeria, and we will also not stop letting people know, and then also working with NOA to make sure that we reach those grassroots and make sure that people understand what we are really doing.
You know, a lot of Nigerians are interested in this conversation, so our Twitter handles are really like crowded at this point in time. Someone, for instance, asked the question, how do you handle using just the number when the police will stop you to search you? The police might not have an equipment to verify your NIN. So how would that work?
Well, what we do is that, again, because I'm saying that all government agencies, you understand, and private sector should focus on their own core function. Ours is to create this database and also provide an interface whereby all other government agencies and parastatals and private sector can poke into this database and ask for information. So that we have done. And there are many companies, even as I speak to you now, even in Lagos, in Kaduna, Kano, that have been working on connecting, that have been licensed to connect other agencies into the system. So like you mentioned, police. I've seen one of the police equipment which with your fingerprint, they will be able to access our database. With the number, also, they should be able to put the number and access this database. So we too, we have not just folded our arms. We've been working on this, and by New Year, we'll come up with something that even on the handset of the policeman, he should be able to verify who you are.
Okay, interesting. That will be very interesting. But we will take a moment and we'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at other matters. For instance, how can Nigerians in diaspora get their own national identity numbers, or they don't deserve to have, especially if they have the social security number in the USA and all that? We'll be back in a moment. Please stay with us. Welcome. We're still talking about the national identity management matter, and we have the Director General of NIMS in our studio, Mr. Aliyu Aziz. Mr. Aziz, as I said earlier, Nigerians are firing us comments here with questions and all of that. One of those questions has to do with those of them who are living outside the country. Festus Akingbewa is wondering how they can get their own identity number.
Well, following the presidential directive early this year that the NIN have to be embossed on the passport itself. Therefore, and especially the new passport, even the old passport has a provision for personal identification number, and that is the equivalent of the NIN. So we went out, and because we are not operating in the diaspora, so we searched and found out that the world practice is to provide it like a consular service. So a citizen will either go to the embassy or go to companies that provide consular service. And since we don't have our people there, we don't have equipment in those places, we don't have the logistics, so we license those, providing those kind of consular services in diaspora. And so far, we have commenced in South Africa, in the UK, in the US, in India, in China, in many of the countries, wherever that we have our embassy, and we are able to get a licensed partner to carry out this activity. So But in those areas, because it is a licensed partners that are doing that, so the citizen is expected to pay a token to those people to get that service done as a consular service. So that is what we are able to do with a
Just a
zero
question.
budget
The
for the
citizen pays a
Nigerians in
token.
diaspora.
The citizen pays a token to have their data captured. Is NIMS not paying the partner?
No, NIMS is not paying the partner. It's just like if you want a visa now, you will be asked to go to one of the vendors and capture the data, and you pay the person to carry out those services. It's similar outside Nigeria. It's only the approval is that it's only inside Nigeria that you will be able to get this service free. Otherwise, the facility that we got from World Bank will not be enough to even capture 10 million Nigerians outside Nigeria. So far, what we are able to provide is that they will pay the vendors, but except if we are able to get intervention fund to now pay the licensees, then in that case the citizen does not need to pay. Or if there are some that are unable to pay, then again government may consider to intervene and give a subsidy for some other people. But that is what we have at the moment.
Okay, Mr. Aziz, what is Ramita? What platform is that?
Ramita.
Yes.
Ramita is a platform that was built by System Spec for the federal government of Nigeria to accept to receive any payment from the general public to the government.
Well, so how do we pay for our ID cards? Or ID numbers, rather?
Yeah, any payment to government service have to be done through this remitter service. There is no cash transaction in most government agencies that I know of. There is no cash transaction. It has to be done either in the bank, and it is done through this remitter service.
Okay, Mr. Aziz, you might need to clarify a couple of things, just so that our viewers don't get confused. Yes, the number, did you say the number is free? Did you say the number is free?
The number issuance is free in Nigeria. Any person that asks you to pay for something, just take him to the security agencies. One of the pillars of this government is to eliminate corruption. That is extortion, and it has to be stopped. It's free. But if you go to, it is in diaspora, then they will also publish what you need to pay. So, and like NIMS too, we publish whatever we need, you need to pay, and we put it on the website.
Okay. So the number is free. Okay. The card issued the first time is also free, right?
Yes, so far it is.
So far. Free. But if you're renewing it, you pay how much? Renewing it, you pay how much?
5,000 naira.
Where are you paying this money? At the bank or at NIMS's office?
You pay it at the bank on the remitter platform.
Okay. Mr. Aziz, we ask these questions because our viewers are asking and they want clarity. But then there's the other part about harmonizing data. INEC has been capturing the data of Nigerians for God knows how long. The banks have data of Nigerians. So at what point, road safety has data of Nigeria. At what point are all these data going to be put together?
Well, harmonizing and integrating databases is one of the fundamentals and part of the law that sets up NIMS. And we've been working on that. And then we developed the standards. And so far, it's only one of the databases that have satisfied all those conditions, and that is the BVN bank verification data. And we have so far received 14 point something million of data from NIMS, that is CBN, from CBN, and we have harmonized and come up with about 11 million of those records that are unique between BVN and NIMS. And the work is continuing. And the other agencies have started to follow the standards. So as you know, the standard is that you need to use even the equipment that takes 442, not the ones that takes 111. And all the 10 fingerprints have to be taken. The face have to be taken in such a way that you can do facial recognition on the face. And in future, we will also, as the population grows, we will also introduce iris to make sure that we have unique identification in all our databases.
Okay, let's, as we begin to wind down, but let me read these comments to you. The matter of welfare of your staff. Dim Uche says, what is Engineer Aziz doing to avert an impending industrial action by staff of the commission after they issued a 21-day ultimatum owing to poor welfare?
Well, I believe that NIMS is one of the key agencies fundamental to this to the government. And so far, NIMS has been doing its work. Like if you see from 2015 when I came, I made 7 million records, and the NIMS staff have worked to now reach 38.3 million as I speak. Therefore, they have been doing the work, and we have been certified that we should be like in the committee of the paramilitary salary scale, and we have been working to do that, and government have been working to move us from the core civil service to that paramilitary salary. So, and also because the staff are the most important asset that we have apart from the technology and the processes. So we do all what we can to make sure that that happens. And also the welfare is a general term that so far government have taken some of those things that you say, staff welfare, like
Mr. Aziz, I'm talking about their salaries and allowances.
Salaries and allowances are paid through the IPPIS, and the salaries are being paid every month since I came. Every month, that is what government has been paying. And the salary to the ratio of our capital and others is like 83% of what we receive from the government is the salaries that are being paid for. That is why it's huge. And as we said, we are working to move from the civil service salary to that paramilitary salary. And that is what we are pushing for. But as I said, welfare is, you have it in the pension. You also have the NHIS is also part of welfare that government have taken from parastatals, so that there shouldn't be agitation about welfare per se.
So Aziz, I'm going to read these comments, three of them real quick, and you have to answer them real quick because you have less than 2 minutes to wind down this segment. John Usanga says, why would Nigerians register for identity card for 5 years now, yet they can't have their card? Another information is that their staff collect money from people before they register you. Example, University of Uyo Teaching Hospital Center. Babatunde Alimi says, my picture is not out after registration in 2013. People's temporary ID cards issued are not recognized by NCC for SIM replacement applications to the telcos. Why is this? And then Eric Omola says, those in charge of the national identity card should establish a whistleblowing mechanism to allow people to speak up when they are being extorted. It is not enough to say take them to the security agencies.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and we are going to also do the whistleblower agreement because, as you rightly says, even the security agencies have more issues than this. And 5 years registered, no ID card, yes, that just use the NIN. We are in the digital era now. Extortion, as I said, extortion is totally not acceptable. That use your mobile phone, take the pictures, report to us. We have our own on our website. You will see several email addresses that you can send to us. The NIN slip not accepted by telcos? No. The NIN is acceptable, and I'm sure of that, NCC have written us, they have accepted that NIN, just your number, not even the slip. You just give the number, they have a way to verify the number, and you will be given service. And whistleblower, yes, I accept that we need to develop that mechanism and also have even our own staff too to really cross-check. We have supervisors everywhere too, and they can report. And also we have our internal mechanism. Like the last 2 weeks, we sat on about 22 cases, and some of them have to be, unfortunately, be terminated because they were implicated in this kind of extortion.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Aliyu Aziz. Mr. Aziz is Director General at the National Identity Management Commission. Thank you very much for coming to enlighten us about the National Identity Card Scheme.